the Scopes monkey trial. Since it happened in July of 1925 in the small hill town in eastern Tennessee named Dayton, not many people today have heard of it, but it really did affect the course of American history. For fundamentalist Christians, it was a Pyrrhic victory and the beginning of their withdrawal from American society. Adam Latz talks about it in chapter 2 of his book, Fundamentalist You. The story starts like this. In an effort to draw some business and notoriety into their small town and maybe build up their economies, some local businessmen got together and they worked it out with high school science teacher John T. Scopes to get caught teaching evolution, which was against the law in Tennessee. Well, their publicity stunt worked, and the trial became a media circus with celebrity lawyer Clarence Darrow defending Scopes and none other than three-time Democratic presidential nominee and former Secretary of State under Woodrow Wilson, William Jennings Bryan, heading the prosecution. Scopes was convicted of breaking the law against teaching evolution, received a small fine. But the coverage of the trial, especially that from H.L. Menken, made fundamentalists look like ignorant hicks. So they withdrew, and they created their own colleges, as Latz has described. If I were teaching an American History 2 class, I'd use newspaper articles from the coverage of the trial to get students thinking about how media can shape a narrative. I've chosen 3 articles from the ProQuest Historical Newspapers database as an example. All 3 are from the New York Times, which demonstrates the national attention that was drawn to this little eastern Tennessee town. The first is from May 28, 1925, about 6 weeks before the trial. It was on page 3, and the headline reads, "Scopes explains his evolution view." The article quotes Scopes as saying that he did not believe man had descended from apes, but that both apes and man had evolved from lower forms of life. The article goes on to state how all modern science affirms evolution, and it contains a long list of quote-unquote expert witnesses that have agreed to testify at the trial. The second article is from July 8th, 1925, 2 days before the trial began, and the front page headline reads, "Bryan in Dayton calls Scopes trial duel to the death." The article describes the festive atmosphere in the small town as William Jennings Bryan arrived. He was, after all, quite a celebrity. Bryan is quoted as saying, "If evolution wins in Dayton, Christianity goes. Not suddenly, of course, but gradually. For the two cannot stand together. They are as antagonistic as light and darkness, as good and evil." The third article ran on page 16, and it was on July 12th, 1925, 2 days after the trial began. The headline reads, "Mountaineers won't hear arguments on evolution," with the subtitle stating, "People in and near Dayton cling to Bible story of creation, but welcome visitors coming for trial." The first sentence of the article goes like this: "A banjo pinged through the night, and a wobbly fiddle took up the thread of Little Brown Jug." So I think you can get an idea of how it continues on to describe the people of Dayton. The questions that I would then present to the class after we read these articles and others like them would be along these lines. Describe how each article portrays its main topic. How was Scopes portrayed in the first article? How was Bryan portrayed in the second article? And how are the people of Dayton portrayed in the third article? Another question would be, if you were a resident of New York City in 1925 and you read these articles, what would be your opinion of the whole incident? What would you think about creation versus evolution? What would you think about those people, Scopes, the people of Dayton, William Jennings Bryan, Clarence Darrow? Having easy access to original media coverage of an event such as this gives teachers a powerful tool to help their students engage with and evaluate historical events.